Moiraine struggles with an uncertainty while Lan struggles with her new companion. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve from Valhartv, and today I'll be reviewing The Wheel of Time, Episode 4. So there's a lot that actually happens in this episode. This episode does slow down a little bit, but there's a lot that happens in this episode. So the episode starts out with in Galadan, I believe is how you pronounce it. And we see a man using the power of the One, just like we would Moiraine in them. And this is really kind of cool because he actually proclaims himself to be the Dragon Reborn. And we see that he's actually kind of powerful. But there's a difference between his power and the Aes Sedai power. Aes Sedai power. Like, theirs is just pure white. His is white and black. And we do see, like, a couple of shadows talking to him. So, this is probably the madness. But at the same time, he doesn't seem like he went mad. You know, like the guy in the very first episode did, you know. But again, he really didn't seem mad either. He was hearing voices that we saw. So, this whole thing is very interesting on how these two aspects are very different. And then, of course, we cut back to, like, Perrin and Egwene, and they're still with the Tinkerers, but, like, Perrin doesn't really trust them, you know. He says there's something kind of, wrong with them, suspicious. But as they keep traveling with them, there's some really good dialogue moments in this. Like, we get Illa talking to Perrin, like, quite often in this episode, and she literally brings up stuff that really starts making him think. We learn about the way of the leaf, you know, and how these people don't really have anything to protect themselves with because they don't believe in violence. And it's very interesting. And then we also cut to Aram, I believe his name is. And he talks to Egwene about, like, the song and, like, how it's supposed to bring harmony back, you know, to the world, and they lost it, and they're trying to find it. So, like, there's some really good dialogue moments with this whole episode, too. And there's other dialogue moments as they go along with the Tinkerers. But then we go to the Gleeman, Mat, and Rand. So now they're trying to find a place to, sleep. But, like, Mat's horse is, like, getting real frustrated, real, like, scared, And I think it's going to play out to be because of what he did in the city. So we go there and they find a small farm they come across, and they end up having to talk their way out of getting shot by arrows from the owner, and his family. So they do some work for him, but towards the end of the night in this, in their stay, we really see that the Gleeman actually has a secret, and he even talks to Rand about it just a little bit, and he's like, there's nothing more than a dangerous man that remembers the past. Now, we got to remember, the Gleeman's basically a bard, and the bards of old always went around singing songs of old tales. So, of course, they're going to remember certain things, and that I thought was a really great dialogue moment. But then they start talking about Mat and what's going on with Mat, and they think it's because he might be exhibiting the power of the One, but as we see going forward, he has a secret of his own, and it's not really that. So I thought that was really good. And the whole night sequence I thought was really good, to be honest with you. And then we get to see the Fade pop up. But before that, Mat and the Gleeman look around, or not Mat, but Rand, and they see everybody's deleted. They're all dead. And it's very interesting because did Mat do it or did the Fade do it? So we don't know yet. I think this is really good because I don't even think Mat's going to know if he did it or not. So that's I thought was a really good sequence to this. So then we finally cut back to Moiraine and the camp that they're in with Logain, I believe his name is. And, of course, Lan is practicing, and then we get some very interesting conversations about Leandrin, and she's the woman in the red, as you saw from last episode. But we also get like interesting stuff about the White Tower again. And there's a lot of great dialogue in this sequence as well, like in this whole part with the camp as well, because we get Nyave. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the name. I can't really pronounce it, so I do apologize. But her and Leon really kind of start talking, and they kind of find like some common ground with some really good dialogue. And Nye is starting to realize that not everybody is as bad as she's been made out to believe. You know, like Lan literally is like, you know, once we get to the White Tower, if your friends aren't there, we will try to find them. You know, we have resources to do that because we promised you we would. And she was very surprised that he was actually going to go through with the promise, you know. So she's starting to realize that there's some good and there's some bad people. And, I mean, she kind of should have known that, too, at the same time for, you know, because there's always good people and bad people, even in your own villages or your towns. There's somebody who's going to do something wrong. There's somebody who's going to do something good. Everybody's different, you know, but she really starts to realize that. And as the dialogue goes forward, she really starts to learn more about, like, the White Tower and, you know, everybody in it and things like that. And she starts to come to realize that maybe she's had prejudices that aren't really founded. You know, they only know from, like, what the old stories were, you know, that were passed down, and how people haven't, you know, like, these women haven't visited their village for a long time because it's just a rinky-dinky little village, even though we found out that it was something much greater, part of an actual kingdom that held their ground for 13 days and stuff, so against the evil one's army, you know, and I thought that was really cool. But at the same time, like, these villagers don't even hardly remember that. So I think it's very interesting to see how the written word versus the spoken word is different in cultures where, you know, some, as they're passing it down verbally, things get changed, things get forgotten, but written can also be altered, you know, by the person telling the story. But at the same time, it's, unless those records burn up or get destroyed somehow, they aren't as easily lost. Like, you can go back and read stuff from, like, 100 years ago if you preserve it just right, you know. So I found that was extremely interesting, you know, because all these people are just basing assumptions off of things that happened hundreds to thousands of years ago. So they don't even know the truth themselves because it's all been forgotten. It seems like there isn't really a lot of written records around anymore, especially in smaller villages, you know. So it's very interesting. We see that even with the Tinkerers as they're trying to find the song again to bring harmony to the world. And it's like, you guys never wrote it down, you know, you didn't have any records. No, it's because it's all spoken word, you know, because they're gypsies, basically. I thought that was really interesting. Now, the effects in this I thought were great, you know. Oh, and the cliffhanger at the end was phenomenally good. Like, Moiraine and the rest, I don't even know what they're going to do. And I don't think they do because of what happened at the end and what was shown. But, like, yeah, it was great. The effects in this, again, were really good. The attack on Gillidan looked really good. The powers that Logain used and the women used were great, you know what I mean? Like the Moiraine and them used. We get the fight scene at the end, too. I thought was phenomenally good because we see just how powerful Logain is, but we also see what can happen when you know, like Moiraine and all the rest of them team up together. So I thought that was very interesting. Now, the acting in this, I thought was a marked improvement over the rest of the other 3 episodes. I thought so far everything's been good to okay. But I thought this was actually quite good because we get Matt being sweet to a little girl, but then he's also got to deal with the secret he's keeping, and, like, he doesn't even really understand it either. So it's not really a secret, but he's not telling, like, Rand and them what's going on with him. You know, like him blanking out, him throwing up, and then, you know, everything pulling back into his mouth, and it's really good. So we get that. We get Nye. We get the Gleeman. The Gleeman's really good in this, too, where he's protecting Rand and Matt and stuff. We get all these things coming up, and everybody else had a good amount of screen time too. Perrin, Egwene, like they all kind of had a standout-ish episode for all of them together, which I thought was really good. Now, again, this episode did slow down because it had to do a lot of relationship building. It had a lot of good dialogue in it. It also shows that not all of the Sedai are bad people, you know, and Nye is starting to realize that. But there's also doubt that's thrown back into the mix with Moiraine and stuff. You know, she's like, I don't know, he's super powerful, but is Logain really the Reborn? He's kind of a little bit too old to be, you know, and even Lan brings that up, and she's like, I don't know, you know, it's this, that, and the other thing. So there's a lot of doubt thrown in, but we still don't even know who the who the Dragon Reborn is out of the 5 characters that we've met so far. So it's like, why you're throwing that doubt in again? We still don't know who it is. Even though now you're throwing light on it could be this person or this person or this person, it's like, we don't know who it is. Why are you doing that, you know? But it was good. I would honestly give this an 8.5 out of 10. Easily, because of the dialogue alone was fantastic in this. And everybody got some really good screen time in this. Instead of the first, like, you know, the second and third episode being more about Matt and stuff, this episode was really kind of about everybody and all the groups that they're with right now. So I honestly can't wait to see episode 5 this Friday. So if you guys like what I do, hit the like button and subscribe. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Take care for now, everyone.